Konnichiwa.
Welcome to the Jandals in Japan podcast.
Hey, Catherine, how's it going?
Hi, Jane. Great. Even though it's hot, I'm doing
I think
fine.
our bodies are finally acclimatizing to the heat, and it's
Maybe.
not so bad as when I was like practically crying a few weeks ago from how hot it was. Yes.
Yeah, I think July was hotter than August. Like now
Mm.
we're in August, it feels not as bad as July.
Yep.
Strange.
Yep. Oh well, summer. Come on, let's get through summer, and I'm really looking forward to autumn coming. So much excitement happening in the
Yes,
next few months. Loads of stuff happening here in Japan.
very busy, very, very busy. But before that, there's less people around Japan than there used to be last year. Did you hear the story today?
What's that one?
Well, the Japan population has been falling a massive 726,342 people.
That is a
So
lot of people.
It's fallen down to 125 million in Japan now. And, that is actually quite a lot of people. If you think about it, and I went on Google and found out how many New Zealand cities would be evaporated. And it
Right.
would be Wellington, Christchurch, Hamilton, and Dunedin combined is around 780,000. So, yeah, that's how many
So that all
people,
the population of those cities disappeared in a
yeah,
year. Oh my goodness.
right? So that
Mm.
brings it into proportion.
Is it deaths or is it also some
It's
immigration
COVID,
involved there?
yeah. Deaths at an all-time high, 1.4 million.
Mm.
Births at a low time record around 810,000. So the
Okay.
number of people, right? It's the natural loss there. So also residents in Japan who are foreigners dropped
Mm.
107,000. So, that's pretty bad. It's the
Mhm.
second consecutive year, I think, that the population of foreigners has gone down, which
Yeah.
of
Makes
course
sense.
is due to those tighter border controls, as we
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
right? And you know all about that. I think you've been
Yeah.
trying to get your
We've
mum
been
in,
That's
right?
right. We have just been investigating the process of getting my mum to be able to come and visit us because we have not seen her for 3 years. And that is far too long to not
Mm,
see someone's own mother and have grandchildren and see their grandmother, etc.
exactly.
So we went down the route of investigating, okay, so how do we get one of these family entry visas? And the paperwork, I was like, wow, it's just that grandma wants to come see her grandchildren. It's not a criminal.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly,
yeah,
right?
so
It's not fair. Come on, Japan. You've got this nosedive of birth rate going down. You've got this, border issue to bring up those numbers. Let's just do it.
mm,
Just stop holding on, Japan. We get you being nice and safe and secure, but actually look at what it's doing. It's impacting our friends and family and you, Jane,
mm,
too. So it is not good.
yeah.
No.
So,
In better
however,
news,
however,
the other piece of news today was that
yay,
the All Blacks are coming to
they're
Japan.
allowed to come to Japan. Yay! They
Well,
can
there
get
is
in.
that, right? There is
Can come.
discrimination.
It's just, who's going to do the paperwork for you, right?
Well, someone
So,
else will do it, right? So
mm,
they're coming here in October. Very exciting.
exciting.
October
Yay.
29th, they've scheduled a game for the new Lepobidandi Challenge Cup 2022
Mm.
with the Brave Blossoms.
Yeah, I see like Dipopitan Dare is the
Yes.
Dare, that's how they say it, right?
Yeah.
Dipopitan Dare is the sponsor. And when they've written it in English, I was like, no, it starts with an R, not with an L. It's not Lee Popitan. Lee
Jane, you've
Popitan.
been here far too long. There's a sign. Well, I have fun fact. I did a TV commercial for Le Poppy Dundee in New
Really?
Zealand many years ago.
Oh,
Yes,
funny.
with no, I'm telling the truth. With Toei CM,
Oh, toy. Yeah,
Toei,
yeah.
and
Mm,
also they were doing it all for the Taisho Pharmaceuticals, right, who
hmm
make that product.
hmm
And so I jumped out of an a helicopter into Mount Aspiring National Park with the
hmm
two Japanese, actors, as well
hmm
as, roller coasting and not roller coasting. What am I saying? Roller skating.
You did roller skating, or
Well,
they did roller skated.
they did roller skating. Roller
Oh my
skating
God.
in the Port Hills and just looking out to Littleton Harbour. And also there
Mm.
was this paraglider landing into the Remarkables. Of course, they
Oh,
had
wow.
doubles doing it, the
Sure.
New Zealand actors doing that double part. But it was such a fun episode, a CM that was played in Japan, and I thought, wow, I was part of that.
I wonder if we
So
can find it and put it
I've
in
got it
our...
videoed somewhere, so I have to show you
Yeah, it
sometime.
must be
But
on YouTube somewhere,
it has
right?
to be. Oh, actually,
Yeah,
that's a
let's
good
see if we
point.
can put it in here
Try and find
later.
it. But I have an affection towards Le Poppy Dundee because,
Mm-hmm.
they had many products,
Mm-hmm.
all of the different labels on like a tie. They had English, they had Japanese, all the labels of the product. So they kept doing the Le Poppy Dundee shoots,
Right.
different takes for the different products so that they could
Mm-hmm.
have the same product going into various countries in Asia. It was really amazing and such a good job to
Mm.
have while I was a student in Christchurch. So there you
Oh,
go.
wow. That is such a fun connection between
Right?
Nepopi Dundee
Yeah.
and the All Blacks now. I was just
Yeah.
wondering about the average New Zealander trying to figure out how to read that because it was on the All
Mm.
Blacks website that I was just looking at and it was like,
The
No,
Poppy
yeah, anyway.
Dundee. And of course, Dan Carter and Richie McCaw
Yes.
are the brand ambassadors for
Mm.
that product. So that obviously, now 2 and 2 makes 4 when they were here recently promoting.
Yes.
And so all of this has come together. But I think it must take a lot to try and get a game together like that as the All Blacks head up to their Northern Hemisphere games. And hopefully they'll do a little bit better than they are doing right now, Jane.
Yes, I hope so too. I hope they leave the shirt in a better place, which is something that we've been talking about today in
Well,
today's
actually,
episode coming up with
exactly.
Adam Hall. So we're talking about barbecues
Mm.
and selling barbecues in Japan. How do you do that in a country where people don't really barbecue? Or, how in New Zealand, lots of families would have a barbecue set up in the
Of course.
backyard, ready to go at any moment's notice when you feel like cooking
Yeah.
outside and instead of cooking inside.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in Japan so much
Ooh.
at all, right?
No,
So
not at all.
why would you
They have
try and
little
sell?
charcoal grills, don't they? They have little
Yes,
grills, but not
little
an actual barbecue, and not a decent one like
not
the
a gas
brand
one.
that Adam worked for. And so we talk about barbecues, and he was such an entertaining speaker, and you'll hear him shortly. But he loves rugby analogies. And so if you don't know many analogies in rugby, this is the one to write down from the episode. Committed to the tackle and, move
just
the
go for a
jersey
shirt
further up the
grab.
field. And I've got a book here. I wrote them all down. That's not really committing to the tackle. I think that was one that you liked. That's going in for a shirt grab. So all of these gorgeous little rugby things that Adam is also saying amongst his brilliant knowledge about coming into Japan as a jandal that's been so successful.
Yes. So if you are listening to the audio version, you can also pop over and see the video version that we have today for this episode. And we hope you enjoy that too. Yeah, so let's hear from Adam. Kia ora, Adam. Welcome to Jandals in Japan.
Morning.
Hi, Adam. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Hello, guys.
Or
Great
is it
to have
Ohio gozaimasu
you.
at this time?
Oh, it is. No, are we? Hang on,
No,
it's 10:40.
No,
It's more. It's already. It's more konnichiwa. It's already konnichiwa.
You can tell we've been here a long time. Welcome to the show, Adam. So excited to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Jane,
I have a special question, warm-up question for you, Adam. A or B, which are you? You're traveling from Tokyo to Osaka, bullet train or plane?
Bullet train.
Why is that?
It's smoother, no chickens, and I quite like the scenery, I suppose.
Yeah, it's quite nice to have that sort of 5-ish minutes of Fujisan as you steam by, right? As you're flying by. Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Catherine? Bullet train or plane?
Ooh, I do love the bullet train. Again, because of Adam's comments as well, but just that no check-in and you can just rock up, 30 seconds, 1 minute before, and get on.
I know,
Even if
it's
you
amazing,
forget your coffee, they'll serve you coffee on board. If you want a black coffee, a decent black coffee, it's great. It's so convenient.
And there's like one every 15 minutes or something ridiculous like that, isn't it? It's amazingly
really
often.
great.
So I live in Fukushima and there's like one train an hour to come to where I live from Tokyo. And so if you miss that, you're in trouble. But, if you want to go between Tokyo and Osaka, it's like the next bus coming along, right? It's 15-minute intervals. It's amazing. I was surprised at it wasn't as smooth as I thought it would be to go on the bullet train. When I went on it recently with you, Catherine, when we went to our little trip to Nara, I was
Oh
like, the
yes.
bullet train is so smooth. Yay, can't wait to try it. And I was like, damn, when did it get so rough? And then I just realized perhaps the little train that takes me from Fukushima to Tokyo has improved. So it's in the days, it used to be a lot more
Comparison.
rickety. And
Mm.
now it's not as bad as it was. And so that's perhaps where my I lost my
Maybe, or it could have
thing.
been an older one that we were on, because they've
It
got a lot
might
of
have
older
been.
ones on the line, and I know the faster, newer ones are really, really smooth, right? But
Maybe it
yeah.
was, yeah. But I'm definitely bullet
Mm.
train too. Any chance to go on the bullet train is exciting.
Yes.
Something like if you don't do that when you're in Japan, it's kind of a shame you don't experience the bullet train thing, right?
So we'll put your full bio in the show notes, but tell
Mhm.
us about this adventure that you've had so far,
Wonderful.
and this latest venture with the Manuka Honey. You could have done anything else, but why that, and why now?
So I'll take us two-step. I'll start from the beginning-ish with Weber. So Weber, American company, sell barbecues, absolutely world's nicest people. If you haven't met anyone from Weber or don't have a Weber that changes your life, they're wonderful people and products.
Mm.
Their whole approach is barbecues. Barbecues make people happy.
They
So the
do.
owner,
Mm-hmm.
his viewpoint on life is love people. So love people, and just if you give consumers and people enough love, at some stage that will come back to you. And
Wow.
so that was his take. And it was actually a really great education on being, so some brands may call it consumer centric, and there's all these MBA terms for it. Loving people is one way that's kind of been instilled into me. And so barbecues in Japan 6 years ago, the market didn't exist. And so people, yes, people grill over hot charcoal, people do grill over open fire. Weber-sized charcoal barbecue or a gas barbecue or a stretch electric barbecue didn't exist. And so the owners said, find a way of doing it. One way that we find that works is flavor in mouth. So just get people, as many people, hands-on experience of the product that you can, and that should turn up trumps for you. So that's the approach that we did. One thing that also has been taught to me is if you're going to succeed in Japan, really give it your best shot. So hand on hearts, don't go into it a little bit 50-50, really commit. And so he said, right, to the US, this is how we want to commit. We want to try these exciting activations, as you mentioned,
Mm.
world's first barbecue park, Japan's first barbecue school, world's first
Barbecue school.
barbecue concierge service.
Wow.
Great.
And if someone's going to commit to a pretty premium product,
Mm.
then really love them forever so that they can hand and heart say to other people, that brand is awesome.
Mm.
So that's the way that was instilled into us. At the time, it was me and two others. And that then over, I'd say about 6 months, after 6 months, that then started to get picked up by media. Media pick it up, start telling the story for us. And then before we knew it, we had a wildfire brand,
Yeah.
which was great. So that was Weber's approach to it. And so I kind of want to borrow those as much as I can in my own life.
Yeah.
So that
How did
led,
you get to be at Weber? Like, how did you end up in Japan in
Yeah.
the first place? What
That's a
brings
country
you
manager
here?
role.
yeah. So Weber had been in Japan for 10 years via distributor and had a very small business. And it was a ship and forget market. It was an opaque market. So there's zero visibility on what goes on. Weber only hearing problems about box issues, returns, the product's too big, all the reasons why it won't work. And so then our paths matched. And I said, yep, I like to go into tackle fully committed so we can roll the dice together. And they, credit to them, they said, okay, we'll roll the dice with you. Weber from the beginning had the support, gave me the support, and that's how it moved forward. So that's how we started. And why did I join Weber? I was thinking, so I was with my wife, because previously at a wine company, and my wife said, okay, we've just had a newborn baby and you want to go from a wine industry into a barbecue industry. Yes.
Are you mad?
Mad.
Right.
Stop that.
Exactly. And you want to start it up. Yes. And the business has been here 10 years and not doing
It's
much. And you
new,
think you can turn it
yeah,
around.
yeah.
Yes. She said, okay, have you been drinking in the office today? So we had the chat, and the chat was, is there a current barbecue market? No. Do people eat big steaks here? The country of sushi? Maybe no. Is smoke going to be a super issue? Yes.
Yes.
Is there any way to put these on people's houses? Most likely no. Is there any reason why this will succeed? It's a stretch. Right, let's roll the dice. So
That's me.
if it was easy, I wouldn't have taken it. If it was something that had to be created from zero and still a new blue ocean approach to the market, then yes, that's the one that excited me. So I thought, right, let's take it on and see how it goes. Because of the natural filter of it being a difficult market, a niche market, super seasonal category, that natural filter kind of left only a few candidates to want to take it on. Luckily, Weber and I managed to make a bond.
Wow, where did you meet them? Was it at a barbecue?
No, it was introduction.
Great.
An introduction.
Oh, interesting.
An introduction. So yeah,
so it was
introduction.
here and it was already known, but it wasn't doing so well. So you just took it to next level.
It was here, it wasn't well known. It was parallel imported like crazy. So it was a bit of a sanitize the market, take it back to zero and start again and assume there was no market is the approach we took. We were very lucky that the barbequing turns into a bit of a hobby niche market. And so people start, when they're into this, the limited people that were involved in it were very, very keen hobbyists. And there was one thing that I found, which is interesting in launching businesses, is start with existing infrastructure. And one existing infrastructure that we met was called, believe it or not, Japan Barbecue Association. So there's it's Japan Barbecue Association, and it's a wonderful Japanese guy who has a cowboy hat, dresses up as a Japanese cowboy, and teaches barbecue. And he has the heart.
There's a barbecue sensei, right? Like
he's a barbecue sensei.
Does he give out little certificates and grades, and you can become a shihan in barbecuing, like a master of barbecuing?
Exactly.
He's made it. Japanese people recognize this and want this, right?
Exactly. So his full-time passion and job was to teach people barbecuing. And so he was selling the software and we were providing the hardware. And it was a wonderful relationship there. So we decided we'll work together. And the more he grew, the more we grew. The more we grew, the more he grew. And it was a wonderful little symbiotic relationship.
Oh my goodness.
So that was one thing. Believe it or not, there's a home party association that we're trying to talk to. That guy's got a good gig going on as well. Oh my goodness. So finding these little clubs, leveraging existing infrastructure.
There we go. Oh my goodness.
And there you go. So Japan has an association for everything. Japanese people want to be part of an association for their deep hobbies that they have, their very deep interests, whether it's barbecuing or we've had recently the solo camping, right? Solo camping is a new thing, right? So I'm sure there's probably a recently sprung up solo camping association.
Find
maybe
the association.
Find people who love doing what your product is or helps or whatever. That's
so. For example, for Manuka Honey, there is a Manuka Honey Meister Association.
Of course there is. Oh my goodness. It's like the sommelier of Manuka Honey, right?
Exactly. So
in Japan there would be. Yes, right.
Yeah, so finding local infrastructure and local little hobbyists and working together to benchmark, to kind of springboard yourself is one area that has seemed to be quite beneficial.
Oh my goodness.
And so that turned us into Manuka Honey. So I'm very long-winded in my answers, aren't I?
No, this doesn't matter. Tell us about that, because it's not barbecuing. It's completely different.
It's not barbecuing. It's not home goods either. So the reason got into that is, so if we start with the existing premise of me liking a difficult challenge, Manuka Honey, yes, exists. The category exists. And that's point A. But also point B, I was very keen to try and launch some brand from New Zealand and Japan on my own. Try and bring something that's not really existing here, and kind of leverage the skills that kindly Weber and other multinationals have taught me and use that into more smaller New Zealand businesses and launch it here. And so managed to, again, through introduction, meet Manuka company, Puerto Manuka. And the reason I liked that story is I wasn't a Manuka aficionado from the beginning. It wasn't like my goal in life was to sell Manuka honey. My goal in life was to sell something niche, blue ocean opportunity from New Zealand and Japan. And the reason why I thought Manuka looked a bit exciting is when I was trying to buy it, I found I couldn't understand the category. There's all these different numbers. There's MGO, there's a UMF. The numbers can be very high. There seemed to be no relationship between the rating of the UMF or the MGO and the price. Some were lower rating but higher price. And it was kind of confusing. And I thought, well, if I'm confused, then possibly there are other people who are also confused. So I thought, right, one, I would like to kind of be a leader in the easy to understand section. Then when I heard a bit more detail about the brand story from Puerto, I found that, so my background being wine, I found that Manuka honey in New Zealand tends to be mostly New Zealand Manuka honey. So it's maybe mostly blended or it comes from larger regions. So let's call that the category of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc or New Zealand Pinot Noir. Then if you want to go for a higher level of New Zealand Pinot Noir, you've got Central Otago. Well, the Central Otago or the Napa Valley of Manuka honey in New Zealand, I couldn't find. It seemed like it didn't exist. This Puerto Manuka, the brand that they've really done a good job in creating, is sourced only from a region in New Zealand, believe it or not, is called the Forgotten World.
No.
I cannot believe. So no one I know in New Zealand, my parents who have never set foot out of New Zealand, they think New Zealand, they know every square centimeter of the country, said there's nowhere called the Forgotten World. So they were invited and saw it and said, well, I'll be. There is an area called the Forgotten World. So it's a small area. The honey comes only from there. Plus, when I was looking at hearing their story, what they've got three elements that are working for them. One is it's volcanic soil for a winery that throws the price up through the roof. The next one is the honey comes from an area called Fossil Canyon. In this soil are seashells. Thought, oh my goodness, this is like the expensive Bordeaux's, whereby just an old riverbed makes the price go up through the roof. And the third one is every day they have fog, which is exactly the same as Napa Valley. So I thought, well, any one of these points would create a very world-renowned wine territory. Can we not try the same thing, create the Central Otago of New Zealand Manuka honey? And then if we do that, then that is a blue ocean opportunity for us. And then ideally, if we can create that Manuka honey craft segment of one area, then that will then lead to other opportunities for people to say, well, I take mine from Kerry, I take mine from somewhere. And so then we create a whole new category of Manuka honey, which is craft single vineyard or single apiary, craft Manuka honey, which then can then re-energize a whole category. And I thought that sounds incredibly difficult to do, but also really rewarding if we can pull it off. So that's where we've committed to the tackle, and that's the idea of driving that message.
Oh, wow. So fantastic. I have so many questions. This Forgotten World place, where is it? Like, is there a town near it? Are you going to tell us where it is?
So it's in Taranaki.
Oh, it's in Taranaki. Okay.
Yes. There is a mountain called Mount Puerto that it bases its name off.
Right.
Did they have honey there? Or you're saying that the Manuka was brought in there, the hives were brought in to that particular area, or were they already doing something there?
So it was interesting. Like so the person who set it up isn't a Manuka honey person by trade. His wife's family had a farm there, and when he was visiting, he noticed that people would come in, set up hives, get the honey, and then move on out, kind of like honey pirates. And he thought, hang on, I'll have a go of this as well, and tried it. And everyone who tasted it said, this is absolutely fantastic. We never tried anything like this. And so the taste profile of Puerto Manuka is completely different than any kind of Manuka honey you've ever tried.
What's the difference? Because, I don't like Manuka honey. I'm sorry. it's
Okay.
chemically tasting
Yep.
to me, right? What is
Yep.
the difference between your honey and
Yep.
the other honey?
So that kind of medicinal
Mm,
flavor that you may be picking up,
mm,
that is, yes, that is very prevalent in all. I haven't tried every Manuka honey. I've tried many, and that is prevalent in the majority of them.
mm,
This one, because of the three factors in the different apiary, I keep calling it vineyard, apiary
mm,
styles of
mm,
the features, it gives it a completely different profile of flavor. So it's
mm.
almost like a dessert. So the profile that the photos that we created some photos here to try and have a flavor profile. And we've got oranges and mangoes and cup puddings. So a consumer can see the product and say, oh, maybe I'm not a Manuka honey fan, but this one, okay, it's got a few reviews. It says it tastes like pudding, mango, orange. We'll give it a try. And that's
Mhm.
what it tastes like.
Oh my goodness.
And it's so it's a
Try
premium
this
product.
one.
And when your children under the age of 7 get a tasting for it, it can vanish quite quickly. All of a sudden, everybody's saying, "Dad, I've got a sore throat. Dad, my throat
Yeah,
hurts
yeah. I
again.
think I need some more Manuka
I need
honey.
some more honey."
Yeah.
So the chocolate's gone out the window, which is fine, but the
Mm.
Manuka honey is definitely being consumed.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Look at the packaging of that beautiful product you've got. How
Yes.
does that impact the way that you sell it here? It's in a circular tube.
Yep.
It looks to me like it's sustainable, reusable. What's important about that packaging when you're bringing products into Japan? And, have you got any recommendations? Like on labeling must have been a bit of a trial perhaps
Yep.
for you. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So packaging is always a fun topic in Japan. So I'll break this into two pieces. Piece A would be on the consumer benefit. Piece B would be on maybe more the logistical dealer term side of things. On the packaging piece, so the image we're going for is, so there's a lot of Manuka out there, which is great. And it's resembling a mountain and a river, all kind of look a little bit similar.
Yeah.
So Puerto, this is without me meeting them. Before I met them, they've gone for a very clear, fresh approach to kind of match their fresh flavor. And they're the people who operate and own it are very pure of heart. And so I think the pure image New Zealand has, that also transpires very nicely into the pure packaging that they have, which has won the gold medal for packaging, which is quite nice. Is it sustainable? Yes, it's glass. The glass piece is meant for two pieces. A, it looks very nice. It's sustainable. And B, Manuka honey should be kept away from sunlight. That's why you'll often see it in a dark amber plastic package. The glass here is to show that we can actually have ours exposed to sunlight, and it's such high quality that it won't damage it too much. So that's another piece. That story I probably won't tell to consumers. It's a bit too long-winded. It's more of just a clean approach. And then on the packaging piece, this is probably where Japan becomes quite finicky and difficult to deal with. Launching new packages that look exciting and consumer visibly friendly can be challenging because any slight scratch, any slight bruise or abrasion is immediately a not available for sale category. So my response, my idea there would be generally when you're sending Japan, it's going to be a little bit of pain on the front end, but I'd suggest to 100% inspect things before they're shipped out. It's something that people don't want to do. It's much more cost effective to do that than as opposed to ship it over and then worry about what do we do with these things, and then having someone every time you go to a meeting, that then becomes the point of why can't we sell? Oh, well, your packaging. It's something that I would tackle on first hard, remove it from the table, and then move forward.
Yeah. I love how I was wondering why you had the package inside the package, but the outer is sustainable and pretty and it's won an award.
Yep.
Wonderful. But the whole point is everything. Anytime I've bought Manuka honey, it has been in a dark container. I've always gone, well, I can't see it. Why can't I see it? I want to see it to show people how beautiful it is, that amber gold color. But now you've said it, right? It can't be exposed to the sun. So you've got the best of both worlds.
Yes.
A sustainable package that's pretty, that people would love to have on their table, and then it can be brought out and then put back in. And so it's presentable. You can keep it on the table if you want. I love that. Yeah, now you've enlightened me on that one.
It's also the price point for Manuka honey. It probably falls into that gifting category as well.
Yes.
And the big gifting culture over here. So it's an easy to gift product.
So what is something that being a Kiwi in Japan has perhaps given you a head start or a helping hand along the way? Is there
Yep.
something about being a Kiwi that's
That's a good question.
contributed to your success here?
I'd say yes. I'll take that again 2 ways probably. Point A is the image most people have of us. I'm putting us all in us here. Is we come from a clean, green, honest, all-encompassing, all-welcome environment. When people first meet us, they think, oh, this person must be along the lines of this character, which usually starts well, especially in business sense, whereby it's nice being at the table and the person's immediate image before I open my mouth is that this person's not going to do me wrong. Is quite a nice image to have. I think it's up to every one of us to then respect that image that people have and that's being given to us from previous people, and then take that kind of like the All Blacks and move the jersey further up the field or leave it in a better place, to then really honor that respect and say, well, yes, this is how I hold myself, and keep that image that people have of the country continue moving forward and kind of self-confirm the image they have of us. So I've found that. I've also found myself doing a very horrible version of a haka, probably more the times than I want to admit. So anytime there's an event or anytime there's a group of people and I'm the only New Zealander and there's a group of people more than 5, 9 times out of 10, I will end up doing a haka and butchering it.
So practice your haka skills before you come to Japan. That should be in our playbook. Yeah, so you can do us proud while you're here. They love a good haka in Japan, don't they? It's probably one of the things that Japanese people do know about New Zealand is the haka. Yeah. Very, very
You
cool.
said 2 things there, Adam. The clean, green, honest, you've got our reputation, and we just need to leverage that and be true to that. And the people that come before us that have passed that way with their honest approach to doing business. And New Zealand always ranks high in the transparency index across the world, up there, usually with Finland or Denmark, one of those two. Sorry to that country or those countries, but we're up the top there, right? New Zealand is well known for that. What's the other side, the other second point?
I think we come back from having a product which people believe a product is going to be a high quality product. Is going to instantly fall into that premium quality, premium price segment.
Right.
So when I come for a product, people don't expect me to be selling something that's going to land in a 100 yen store. They expect I'm going to come with a product which has been vetted, tested, it's approved. It's an honorable product.
Yes.
And so that kind of the personality and the brand then kind of match.
Right.
And I've been selling American brands, but
did you notice any difference between that? Oh, here's someone selling an American brand opposed to here's someone selling a New Zealand brand.
I usually use it to my advantage and say, well, that's made in America, this is made in New Zealand, and they're both going to do you well.
So I know that you've got a lot of purpose-driven aspects to your business. Adam, tell us about that, because I know recently you did some activities with REI, the Refugees International Group. Yes. So tell us a bit more about that, those activities, and why they matter in Japan.
Yep. So that's a 2-step approach. Approach A is, as we touched on briefly, we come from an image of New Zealand as clean, trustworthy, helpful, everybody's welcome kind of approach. And so as opposed to just borrowing that image that people have created before us, wanting to work upon that and say, yes, we are our REI, so Refugee Empowerment International, doesn't have anything specifically to do with New Zealand. However, it's shown that New Zealand companies can be involved in helping global situations. So it's one point of saying, if someone says, well, you say that you're New Zealand and you're kind and all this kind of stuff, are you actually doing anything apart from just selling product and making profit? Well, yes, we are doing this. Even though we just started up, we definitely want to be seen as on the front foot of helping support any good cause that we can see. And so yes, that's a good thing to help grow independent brand, our brand of as being a New Zealander, but also there are such a plethora of brands in the market right now, and everybody's trying to say, for no matter what the category is, that we're good, we're the best, we're the purest. Then say, well, for a consumer to see through their eyes, well, are they just talking through a very overpaid communications agency, or are they actually living what they believe is the idea. So trying to live what we believe is
Walk
one
the
approach
talk,
to that. So trying to get the brand out is to support as many different categories as possible for showing that New Zealand brand and Puerto is not just a me too, or we're not just living off what our predecessors have created the image for us. We are helping leave the jersey in a better place.
So how do New Zealanders find their first customer that they want to do what you're doing?
Ah, yes. The
How do they
elusive
find their
first
first
customer.
or first lead or?
So if I was a brand sitting in New Zealand, so that could be piece A, could be if I was a brand sitting in New Zealand, how to crack open a Japan market. Piece B could be someone who's already in Japan, wanting to start up and have a new customer. We'll start the first one. So because I've come from a consumer focused background, my answer will be purely consumer focused goods. So for example, with the honey, what I'm doing is making a lot of noise online, and so Ecom online, before I make the product available in stores. So I'm trying to make the marketing and brand image come first before it's actually available. And so there are platforms like Campfire that they call it, so it's crowdfunding, a different version of the crowdfunding that we'd have maybe in English. So crowdfunding sites and making a bit of noise on social media and Google's search words myself to get a bit of brand awareness known. Then once I've got a critical mass of people who like the brand, follow it, and the boat can kind of keep itself above water, then I want to expand the distribution piece. Reason being is in previous brands that I've been with, when I've gone sell first, market later, it's constantly been in a chasing the tail scenario, whereby, oh, you can't get this listing because brand ABC is doing something more than you. Or, oh no, we don't want to talk about marketing sales state. We want to talk about the product quality or the packaging or that kind of product. So I want to kind of have a brand created first, and that's, yes, it's money up front. It's money racing out the door before anything is coming in. So that's my personal approach on doing it. Doesn't have to be for everybody. Some people can contest that. But the idea here is to try and get some consumer awareness first and then drive sales second, is one approach that I'm trying. So that would be if I was someone in New Zealand, or if I was in Japan, as I am now, I'd probably take the same approach, to tell the truth, try and create some kind of excitement and then do the sales piece second. And my idea here is then if it does not resonate with the consumer, if there's some really bad reason or it's a valid reason for why the product does not match the market, then I've found out early rather than later on down the road.
How are you getting them to know about the product though? Are you on e-commerce only, or are you also in retail? And how
So
are they
at the
getting
moment,
to taste it, for example?
Yep, good point. So step A is e-com only. So platforms would be own site, Rakuten, Amazon. Both those can be set up yourselves. Quite a lengthy process set up, but yes, able to set up. Then, so that's how the product gets out there. On the PR piece, there's probably a bit of a COVID supporter. A lot of people seem to go freelance during the COVID piece in Japan. And so I've got a PR agency, which is a freelancer person who helps with PR. So actually today, what's the time? Yes, I'm allowed to say I'm actually on TV right now.
Yay!
Really?
On TV right now, which is quite a nice primetime spot. And
fantastic.
So that's one way.
The PR person helps you to get that spot on the TV.
Correct.
Ooh, fabulous.
So PR person helped on that one.
And she is freelance, so you don't have to hire a whole agency to get that done. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Correct. And then the PR person, so they've just set up. They were previously at a large entity. They wanted to set up. I happen to be their either first or second customer. So they're really looking at hitting some boundaries up front. And so they've really done a good job. So on TV today was quite nice. The second piece is social media, has been able to, again, I'm not the world's most savvy social media person. There are many other freelance social media people who are able to do that for me. And so that's where the testing comes in. So I'm taking from the wine industry, where I got taught the only way to sell wine is to pop corks. And so I'm sending out samples to KOLs, influencers, and influencers in different categories. So baristas, people who are chefs, people who are homemakers, different categories to get a different range of views. Wine sommeliers. So I've taken a wine sommelier from a local restaurant that I like, who's a really great sommelier, and said, "You're a great sommelier. Can I help build your brand?" He said, "Yeah, sure. I'll take a photo, get a quote, and put it all over my website and social media." And he was like, "Great." So win for him and win for us. So that it's kind of grassroots approach, I think. Oh, that's how A, getting the product sampled through KOLs, B, getting the product above the line through self or freelance PR people.
So they get their sample, for example, then what happens next to actually nurture them all the way through to being a regular customer of yours?
So on the nurture piece, I'll own this. I'm probably a little bit behind my planned schedule on nurturing the consumer. So the idea here is to be super engaged on social media and our mail magazine content. Always constantly having from a different category for a barrister or a gym goer or homemaker. Every week there'll be some kind of content about that person. From this category, this is my viewpoint, this is how you use it. One thing that barbecues resonates well with barbecues is you want the person to use it as much as possible, because then they tell their friends how great it is. So constantly send them different recipes, constantly send them different ways of using the product. Kind of free information. I probably subscribe to far too many brands mail magazine that I should. And one that pros are not such a fan of is every time the brand contacts me, it's with a, "We've got a deal," or "Can you buy now?" or "Are you thinking about a present?" There's no real free information just because we like you, just because you've given us your personal information. Here is some free information as a thank you.
Spot on.
Yeah, so that's the approach I'm trying to go for.
I like that.
It's a bit of a long burn.
How can I enjoy what I've already bought from you more? Yeah. Teach me how to use it so I can enjoy it more. Yeah, I love that. That's
right.
awesome.
Not thanks for buying. By the way, here's a 50% off coupon.
Can you buy some more?
Bought it.
Damn it. How do I use what you've given to me already? Use it up so I can buy some more later. Yeah, right. I love it. Love it. Goodness. If you were going to write some sort of playbook for market entry into Japan for this particular product, right? What would be a couple of things you'd put in that chapter that must-be's or must-haves or must-dos? You know, someone's picking up this book in New Zealand and looking at it and going, "I want to do what Adam did or not do what he did." Not do what he did.
Adam's pitfalls. Yeah.
I'd say one thing I probably did in the beginning, which I should have, it cost me time and I actually had to end up redoing it, was all the registrations I did myself for the setting up a business.
Right.
Yeah, I did all myself and spent far too many hours on documents and stamps, and I probably should have. And at the end of the day, I got the stamps mixed up, registered the wrong way, and it was a bit of a mess. So I had to start again. So ended up doubling my setup cost. I also registered my office to an office that apparently had been blacklisted from Rakuten, the physical location of the address.
Oh no.
Doesn't matter, that has nothing to do with me. And that physical location was not a location, even though it was a valid office. So that would be something that I would probably, instead of me searching for myself, would probably ask, again, these freelancers, doesn't have to be the world's most expensive consulting company, would be one thing that I should have done. And now I do work with those people and life is merry.
Well, there you go. Ask the professionals. And I think you've said it right there. And I didn't even know that, I know companies can be blacklisted, but the physical address where something was there before that didn't do so well or a bit naughty.
Yes.
That's very interesting and really good advice.
In all honesty, I was, for want of a better word, looking at doing the setup on probably the more economical side of things, and actually in the long run cost me double because I mucked it up.
Yep. Right. Ask the professionals, get it done properly. A little bit more, perhaps a little bit of outlay, but you just said your costs for setting up doubled.
And my time and my hours and my
stress,
worries. And then all my focus went on my non-core competency.
There you
And I was
go.
focusing on being an admin, legal setup master, whereby I never wanted that in my life. I wanted to do it once, forget about it, and move on. And that was completely the wrong approach.
Mhm. You
Brilliant.
hit it here.
You heard it here. Adam's
Awesome.
tips. The don't do.
And there are people that can help you. This is not like, Japan is not a
Hmm.
country where people can't help you with this. There are people out there who can do
And
this.
it's language neutral. The current company that operates for me, they run everything in English and Japanese. When it needs to be Japanese, they turn that on. When it needs to be English, they turn that on. And it does not break the bank at all. And there's no long 10-year guaranteed contracts. Very, very transparent business models they're on. So they're out there. So I'd say that piece, because the information now, it could be because of the times, it could be because of the virus helps spur this on. There are quite a lot of these operators. So if you're currently in a deal with someone or you're currently in business, the test but verify, the trust but verify could work. So you could say, yes, I am currently in the market, or I am kind of looking at them already. Some company A has already got me X far. There's no harm in just kicking the tires with another one of these operators and seeing, is everything set up and everything, are you being told the right story? What I'd do. One thing I've seen is, I've been here 16 years, and a lot of comments I'll get if I'm overseas will be, oh yeah, Japan, I'd love to be there. Yeah, it sounds like a good opportunity. That's not really committing to the tackle. That's kind of going for a shirt grab,
sounds like you come
and
for a
likely
holiday.
to end up
Yeah.
worse off.
Yeah.
I'd say make sure you've got probably your 12-month calendar lined out of, this is activation we want to do, this is how we track it. Have that clear, and it doesn't have to be 100% in stone, but at least some kind of direction to getting there. I luckily, thanks to Weber, that was instilled in me, and that when things don't go the right way, that's what keeps the light at the end of the tunnel bright. Saying, right, I'm still going in that direction. So have your probably 12-month, 3-year plan kind of loosely on paper that you want to attack at.
Yeah, we've heard so far on a recent episode 4, our native sparkling boys talking about having discussions with suppliers and distributors that are 30 years into the future. So things that they're looking to work on together.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow.
This is really some long-term thinking happening in Japan, I think, that perhaps doesn't happen in New Zealand so much. So yeah, it is very interesting to see the differences there as well.
Also, understand that running changes is not accepted well. So, for example, big brands dealing in the US and Europe maybe can say, yep, we'll start with label A, but we know that it's going to change a little bit down the road, or we've already got plans to change. Launch with the changed version.
Right.
Don't running
changing
change.
Things.
It's all you do is once you've got the distributor or the route to market's attention, as soon as you throw that change in, you go into the too hard basket. And it's very hard to get out of once you're labeled as, oh, they change a product or the quality is rough, or once you're labeled as that, it's really difficult to get out.
It's a good point, right? Because a lot of people go into brand refreshes or logo refresh, and it's actually, maybe it's not, you don't need to change everything, right? Why change the wheel if it's working fine? So it's a good point. Really good point.
One thing there on that piece, the refresh, as you mentioned that, one thing I've found with other brands is they'll say, right, Japan, we want to crack on. We've got all this new good stuff coming. And our response is, no. We want the stuff that got you going 10 years ago. Give us the stuff that when you first launched really got you off the ground. Don't give it, because you're targeting now more an advanced consumer. We want the stuff that you use to get your beginning consumer off the ground. So don't give us a new refresh stuff just now. That's great, but we can have that in the back pocket. But what we're really interested is what got you off the ground to begin with. That story, consumer over here loves a good story that's really told in detail and like a wholesome story. And so that, I'd say, stick to that. And your new stuff, yes, you can maybe feather it in, but for the first 6 to 12 months, just focus on what got you going in the beginning in your own market.
Any other curious or interesting things about this business system, ecosystem in Japan that people should be aware of, that maybe aren't aware of?
One that gets people banging their head against the wall, no matter where the head office is based, I chat about, is the amount of orders and business communication conducted by fax.
Yes, another one for the fax machine.
You're keeping a tally. That's another big chunk on the wall, another stripe, right?
Oh, really?
Fax.
Do
Yeah,
you own
yeah.
a fax machine? How do you handle the fax situation?
Personally, no. If business has to be conducted by fax, then I'm not the guy for the supplier.
Right. You choose
Well,
not
you're a
to be
I don't,
involved.
no,
Mm.
it's so current company operates some customers on fax, and there's definitely a fast track to move out of the fax market.
What if you
Right.
like them though, and you think they'd be great? Can you innovate and help them, and hashtag no fax, and get them into a sort of a? We've heard of electronic faxing as well, which is working with one
Yep,
company.
electronic faxing. So that's
Right,
our meet in the middle compromise.
right,
Right.
Yes, it's meet in the middle
right.
compromise. It means you've got to have extra customer service staff to process it, and then we have to find another role to help fill that headcount for a customer service person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fax is probably as a frustrating piece. Pitfalls, yes, I'd say fax is probably another one. I'd say one thing which I see is a conversation which is always painful to be involved in is when an international brand will say to the local importing team, "What do you need to go forward?" or "What are your ideas?" And zero ideas come back, and there's kind of both teams look at each other for a while and what are we doing here? My suggestion there is to have, before you go in, A through to Z of ideas and options that you want to crack on with, and assume that over 50% will get cut down. And just keep focusing on, okay, what am I up to now? Up to M. Okay, I've still got some time. I've still got down to Z. So I'd say keep focusing on being the creator of content and ideas. That has to come from the brand principle, as opposed to saying, we're interested in Japan, we want to match the market and do what they want. They'll probably say, that's a lot of brain power and I've got 20 other brands to deal with. Can you just tell me your idea and I'll modify it over here? That's probably
Right.
what they might
So
say
it's got to
back.
come from you. Don't just leave it to the locals to do everything for you. It's really
Right.
part of you as your brand ambassador for that product. Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
Ooh, good stuff.
So tell us, your predictions for the future. Gaze into your crystal ball. What is coming in Japan? And it could be in your industry or in Japan in general.
So Japan in general. So Ecom is going bananas. So that's part of the reason why for own Puerto Manuka is very ecom focused. Retail, I'm hoping will rebound, still confident that it will rebound, but at the moment it still very much seems to be an ecom generated market. So that's one area, crystal ball, that we'll be focusing on. I think that's possibly a global phenomenon as well. Going forward would be a lot more exciting consumer content. So hopefully you'll see the brands that we've, so for Puerto Manuka, we've got 4 different levels, so 5, 10, 15, 20. The idea would be to personify these and have these as their own little New Zealand personalities running around Japan. So hopefully we'll see how there can be some new way of creating brands for Mānuka Honey in Japan.
Wow.
And see how that goes. It might be a horrible idea that gets shot down in flames quickly. It might go very exciting. So if you see it very exciting, it was my idea. If it was a horrible idea, it was my associate's idea.
Yes. But as you were saying that before, I really thought that was a great analogy to the wine industry and the way that you've said, there was premium and there's not, and the differences that you've put there. I think that could really work with the 10, 15s, 20s, 5s, etc. Because I have no idea what they mean. If you can explain that to me in an intelligible way that I'm like, I know the difference between those numbers, I'm in. You've got your customer. Awesome. Any other gold mines or opportunities you think Kiwis have for business in Japan?
Kiwis in Japan, yes. I think the New Zealand category is underrepresented here for all the wonderful stuff we have. I won't name brands, but there's a fruit company that does rather well for themselves here. I think when I go back to New Zealand, the supermarkets just look so exciting. The packaging is cool. The products are great. There's a whole lot of cool stuff in the shelves, a lot of organic stuff, all that. Organic is a big growing category over here. So organic, that stuff, we have it all. I would love to see more consumer focused products represented here in Japan.
Right, we want more cool New Zealand in Japan, not this cool Japan. Cool Japan's great, but we want cool NZ.
Exactly.
Love it. Well, any promos or activations that you're doing, Adam, right now with the honey, Manuka honey, that you'd like to let us know about?
Yes, well, I'd love to share for people listening today a code so people could go to the Shopify site and
Ooh.
redeem. Yes. So if we put a code as Manuka Jandals,
Manuka Jandals.
Manuka
Done.
Jandals,
Manuka Jandals.
anyone, all lowercase,
Yes.
one word lowercase, Manuka
Yes.
Jandals, would like to offer 25% off to anybody who's listening.
Ooh,
Very,
that's
very generous
super.
of you. Thank you so much for that.
Thank
And I'm
you.
going to be on there ordering my mango. What is it? Mango pudding flavor.
Yes.
Mango
Well, there's
pudding
different.
orange.
There's,
Yeah.
choose the mango pudding. That's
Yeah,
and each product has a name. So the entry level is playful. So 5 is called playful, 10 is gorgeous, 15 is defender, and 20 is guardian. So the idea is to give each category to kind of consumerize the product.
Right.
To have
I
some kind of,
understand
as
that
opposed
now.
to just 10 or 15, doesn't sound so consumer friendly,
Mm.
but to give them a little bit of a name that resonates with the flavor and the characteristic of the product that I want to give when I personify it. Those are the names given.
Mm.
Excellent. Love it. So very playful, but helpful as well. Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm going to go buy some Defender or, yeah.
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a little bit of a rolling R in your voice. Are you a Southlander?
It's probably 6 years with a US company.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm from Auckland.
You're an Aucklander.
Oh,
I'm an
rightio.
Aucklander. It's probably 6 years with a Midwestern company has got me.
You could pass in Southland, I think, now. With,
You might, yeah.
Jane.
That's where I'm from originally, actually, but from Southern, my yeah.
My rugby skills aren't good enough. I'd probably be called out quite quickly.
You might not last long down there. No.
Well,
yeah.
really super enjoyed speaking with you today, and I loved all your rugby analogies in there. I've written it down a little list there, so I've got those on the side, sending me off to kick that one to touch, shall we say. Congratulations, Adam, really. Congratulations on being such a fabulous living the image of what has been brought by others before us as a successful jandal in Japan. We really thank you for coming on and telling us all about your journey for success in this land of the rising sun. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Lovely. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
See ya.
Wow, what a star Adam is. I really enjoyed listening to all of his gold nuggets and rugby. What's the word? I keep getting the word aneurysms. It's not aneurysms. Rugby metaphors.
Metaphors, analogies
Metaphors.
to those rugby things, right? Certainly kick that one to touch, shall we say?
Yeah.
He's a gem, right? Golden gem, sparkling there. And, I think we're really lucky that we could tap into his secrets and advice today.
And that was really, really awesome. Thank you so much, Adam.
And don't
I really
you love
love
the way? No, I was going to say, don't you love the way he puts things into A and B and section 1 and 2?
Yes, 1, 2, 3.
He's explaining to clients, customers, it must be really good. There's 2 things. It's one way of following somebody is always knowing the road marks, right? Or road signs. When you can follow somebody by what they're going to say, by them telling you they've got 2 things to tell you.
Yes.
I thought you did that as a speaker, as a general
good
point. That was really, really good for Japan in particular. So people can follow you when you're talking with them.
I love that comment about start with the infrastructure that is already there. And he referenced the Barbecue Association of Japan and the barbecue sensei who hands out certificates for his students who have achieved the master or Shihan master level of barbecuing. This should just give you an insight into how deep Japan goes into their hobbies. I doubt there's a barbecue association in New Zealand, even though most Kiwis probably barbecue once a week in the summer at least, right? What could possibly be the association that you need to be in touch with and working with to help integrate your product or your business into Japan?
Yeah.
Even the Home Party Association. I was like, oh my God, it's wild. The Home Party Association.
Yeah. I mean, what are they doing? Are they sharing stories about how to
have a party without getting your neighbors to complain at you for having a party? And because that's why a lot of people don't have home parties, is they worry about the noise and bothering their neighbors. A reason why people don't barbecue at home is because of the smoke, right? And that would bother your neighbors who are right there in Japan. That's why we have an electric grill where when we grill at our house. You've been to a barbecue in my garden, right? We don't get going with the charcoal or anything. So Yeah, leading,
Very
starting
interesting.
with the infrastructure.
I also thought it was really great. He just sort of, there's stories we've heard a little bit before, but just, being in there for the long run and not being, when he said, talk to people about them saying, yeah, love Japan. Yeah, this year thing. It has to be a lot more stronger than that, and having a real hand on heart, not going in there, right? He said, hand on heart, you've got to be there fully committed, not this 50-50 kind of a view. Give it your best.
Yeah, you're
right up the front there. He was telling us that.
What was saying, not going for the shirt grab? Was that what he said? Or was that you going in for the tackle, not just for a shirt grab?
Yeah, not
jersey. What is it?
Yeah, not committing to the tackle. It's going just for a shirt grab. I loved that. Yes. Hey, I think what he's doing on interpreting UMFs, making them easy to understand, is really good. And he started with a problem. He did not himself know what those meant, and so he's on a mission to make them intelligible for others. Isn't that a brilliant way of an entrepreneur starting a business? That's how we should be doing it.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? And he mentioned the profiles that he's created for the different kinds of honey, and instantly I was like, now I understand. Yeah. That's great. I know which one I want to buy now.
Yeah,
now that you've given me those then given them a name that makes sense. So that's really,
I'm after gorgeous. Are you after defender? Are you?
No, I'm going to start
playful.
with down the bottom, playful. Yeah, work my way up. Yeah.
Up to Guardian. Yeah, again, making them very approachable, and people know that they're at those levels and they can go up the levels. And maybe he can do some awards or certificate for the people who've attained the different levels of Manuka.
Yeah, you've ordered
maneuvering the Manuka.
All 5.
Here we go.
levels.
You heard it here first, Adam. But I loved also how he said on the nurturing part of things, how just don't keep selling to people. Here's this discount coupon, here's this, here's that. Help them, as I think you also put it, help them how to know how to use the product better or more or in a different way. So that
enjoy
they can
their product
enjoy what they've already got, not try and get them to consume or buy more. Maybe that's eventually down the track because you've taught them or helped them to get to know their product more. I loved that.
That's awesome.
Like you, here's some free information. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of like what Jackie does with her merino products, right? That she shows people how you can enjoy using your merino, when it's not climbing a mountain. There's other ways you can do it through whatever it is. Yeah, that's really, really great. And I love that thing he said about leaving the New Zealand brand better than you found it. So we've been given this heritage of our brand of New Zealand as being this clean green country, and we're nice people to work with, and all of that. So what are you doing? Are you just capitalizing on that? But what are you doing to make the New Zealand brand even better, or to leave it better than you found it, which is how we like to treat our country, hopefully, right? And when we go and use the nature in New Zealand, we hopefully leave it better than we found it. How do we do that for New Zealand brand overseas? That is a really great thing to keep in mind.
Fabulous. And I think the last thing from me would be, I'm a professional, I'm a lawyer in this world, and so I just completely understood what he was saying about leaving some of that work to the professionals. Setting up the company, doing the office registrations, finding out those things with the business that can affect the business, such as that physical address having a bit of a black mark against it. So those things, getting the ducks lined up at the beginning rather than trying to flounder at the end. You end up using a lot of your time on those things rather than actually trying to get your product out into the market. I thought those were also very good practical things that he talked about. Wow, what an episode.
Good. Well, I'm off to buy some honey. I'm going to go and click my way over to Adam's online store and get myself some honey.
And what a generous code. Gosh, we're so lucky, aren't we? Thank you so much,
What a great guy. Thank you so much, Adam. And we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, get subscribed. Sign up to the newsletter so you don't miss out on an episode. We'd love to see you back here again soon.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out our guests' links in the show notes.
This podcast is brought to you today by Catherine O'Connell Law and Pod Launch with Jane. If you have a great story you think should be on the show, come and find us on LinkedIn or Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.
Matane.